Welcome to Ethics in the Social Sciences. My name is Mick Holbrook and I'm the unit coordinator for this unit. In this short introductory lecture, I want to give you a sense of what ethics is all about, what the expectations and requirements of the unit are, the kind of things we will be doing, and some important ideas about how we relate to the concepts of right and wrong. Let me start with some ideas about ethics. The painting on my left here is by Paolo Veronese, Italian 16th century Renaissance artist. It's entitled The Triumph of Virtue over Vice. It invokes a sense of right and wrong, good and bad, moral and immoral, and a sense that we should strive to do the right thing. These types of questions lie at the heart of moral philosophy, and according to Bertrand Russell, eminent 20th century philosopher, a moral activist and pacifist, the value of philosophy and ethical issues concern themselves with unresolved questions. Russell suggests that there are discoverable truths and undiscoverable truths. The former are in the realm of science, and the latter are in the realm of philosophy. But if philosophy and ethical and moral discourse lies in the realm of undiscoverable truths, doesn't this present a paradox? If such truths are not discoverable, then how do we establish ethical rules about how to behave and how to act? Truth is itself an interesting concept, and thinking about ethics and how to conduct our lives. But before we look at those ideas, let me briefly talk about what's involved in this unit. The unit is described in detail in the Learning Guide. This gives information about your lectures and tutorials, the structure of the course, and the kinds of activities and assessment requirements. In terms of learning outcomes, at the completion of this unit, you should be able to do the following things. Apply skills in reflexivity to an understanding of everyday life and social actions. Demonstrate in written form how ethics are constructed and understood in everyday life in a social setting. Identify the significance of key ethical and moral concepts in a range of contemporary settings. And identify the relationship between ethics, social justice, and social fairness. In achieving these outcomes, we will be developing the ability to apply ethics through case studies. For that reason, we'll spend the first part of the unit looking at different ethical frameworks and concepts. For example, should we act in terms of thinking about the consequences of what we do? Or should we have little regard for the consequences in terms of our actions and follow some preconceived idea about sets of rules? How do we develop a virtuous character? Are ethical rules absolute in their application? Or are they relative in different social and geographical contexts? Do we have the freedom to choose in terms of our ethical decision making, or are some things predetermined? Once we have a good idea of these things, we'll be able to apply them to actual case scenarios in different contexts. In the latter part of the unit, we'll share our ideas about cases, and finally, we'll establish the connection between our personal moral and ethical frameworks and professional codes of ethics as they apply to our chosen careers. The textbook, pictured here, Theroux and Kreisman, Ethics, Theory and Practice, is an essential part of the unit and will be available in the UWS bookshop. Reading the text will consolidate your learning and enable you to successfully complete the assessment tasks in the unit. The unit will also examine specific codes of ethics for professional groups, such as social work, policing, community welfare, and the human services more broadly. The case studies are designed to allow professional perspectives to be brought to bear on ethically challenging issues. It will also give you the chance to experience how other professional groups need to apply ethical practice within the parameters of their respective codes of ethics. By doing this, we allow people to investigate the interdisciplinary effects of professions in the real world. Okay, let's return to some of the questions posed at the beginning of this introductory lecture. Right wrong. Good, bad, moral, immoral, ethical, unethical. What do they all mean? Let's start with a working definition to be going on with. The complexities will come over the following weeks. Morality and ethics deal with humans and how they relate to other beings, both human and non-human, to promote mutual welfare, growth, creativity, and meaning, and to strive for what is good over what is bad, and what is right over what is wrong. But just in case you were thinking that it sounds easy enough, here's a question that throws a bit of a philosophical spanner in the works. Here are 4 issues presented as ethical questions. Think about each one of these things: abortion, same-sex marriage, asylum seekers, and euthanasia. The first thing to consider is, are these things which are debated in contemporary Australia? It's kind of a rhetorical question. Most of these things have actually been in the news on a number of occasions in the last year or so. But here are 2 perhaps more interesting questions to ask which posit the idea of right and wrong. The first of these questions is, do you have a strong view on any of these issues? The second question is, do you think you would get consensus about your view in an average lecture or class? In other words, would everybody agree with you? I think it's almost impossible to deny that the answer to the first question for most people will be yes. Most people will have a strong view about one or more of these issues. But I think it's also true to say that the inevitable answer to the second question is almost invariably no. I don't think I could get everybody to agree with me about these issues. So, if people can have opposing views, for example, on euthanasia, what is right and what is wrong? And what do we do? Especially if ethics is about actions. Remember Russell and the undiscoverable truths idea? This is the notion that we have to keep struggling with things that can't be made self-evident by commonsensical rules. Here's a challenging statement to think about as you start your journey into ethics in the social sciences. Stephen Brookfield is an eminent adult educator and looks at the idea of truth and ethics through the prism of critical theory. He suggests that we should be cautious about the idea of truth. He talks about the application of sets of rules as the phenomenon of technocracy. Brookfield says this: technocracy acts as a force for domination by promoting the idea that life is principally a matter of technical adjustment. All problems, emotional, spiritual, and social, are fixable by the application of technology. Brookfield's caution is simple. Don't expect life to have a set of rules that you need to apply to any situation as self-evident, commonsensical truths about what is right and what is wrong. It just doesn't work like that. We cannot avoid the struggle with Russell's undiscoverable truths. And we cannot do nothing. We have to think, and we have to act. Enjoy ethics in the social sciences. I hope you find it rewarding. And thanks for watching this introductory lecture.